Good morning, wake up and pray up. It is a wonderful Wednesday morning, 6:05 a.m. I can't believe it. Um, the illegal Chinese biolab filled with disease-riddled mice and high infectious pathogens received $150,000 in government cash to make illegal COVID tests. You heard me right. So I'm going to get into this story a little bit more a bit later, but the public records show that Universal Meditech Incorporated, UMI, which offloaded all of its organic materials to this Chinese owned prestige biotech, it's a lab, received two separate COVID loans of $74,912 in April of 2020 and in February of 2021 to manufacture unsanctioned COVID tests. UMI was also awarded $360,000 tax credit in 2018 through California. Governor Gavin Newsom, he had this program and he gave them all this money, though never received the funds due to its inability to meet the program guidelines. Hmm. So that's interesting. Um, Now, the entire debacle raises a number of questions. How many of these dangerous biolabs are operating in the United States? How many are there? What does it take to get licensed to mess around with infectious agents? What does it take? Why are we allowing the sale of sensitive biological materials to shady Chinese firms? What on earth is going on here? We're going to cover this here on the Morning Buzz in just a little while. You can always text in. I'm live in the studio, 309-451-9299. You can see me on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Rumble. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. It's real easy. It's just Kat Peterson, SEN at the end, 929. So Kat Peterson 929. Check it out on YouTube. We've got all kinds of things that I got to get to today. Gold Star Mom, she was before, I think it was Congress. She was in some sort of hearing and she was just ripping into Joe Biden and his response after her Marine son was killed in Kabul. Um, And she said, "How could someone be so heartless?" That's a direct quote from this Gold Star mom. And this, of course, has to deal with Joe Biden's withdrawal out of Afghanistan, but more so the response, you know, that came after these bodies came home. 13 service members died um, in August 26th of 2021. They were killed in a terrorist attack in Kabul. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and her story and how she felt that Joe Biden's response to her Marine son coming back dead in a coffin and how she just couldn't believe Joe Biden's response. So then I'm sorry I had to pull this morning. You won't believe it. A trans woman is suing her ex-boyfriend. Well, his ex-boyfriend, I don't know. I'm going to dead name and I'm going to mispronounce these people, but it's all right. This trans woman sues her ex-boyfriend to get her testicles back that are being kept in a jar in the refrigerator. This is a story in the United States, in Michigan. It's America in 2023, folks. So I'm gonna bring you that story. Plus NBC, they're lying their face off to DeSantis on Democrats' abortion extremism. This corporate journalismers, they are the Democrat Party. They try to explain away their extremism. They say it doesn't exist. It definitely exists. So there are receipts that tell us that Democrats are for abortion up to 9 months. But NBC is trying to play, I don't know, cover up or something for the Democrat Party, and they're lying their face off to DeSantis in this interview about how Democrats are not that extreme. They are, and I've got the receipts on that. Okay, so let's start with the Gold Star mom. On August 26, 2021, 13 American service members were killed in a terrorist attack in Kabul. Um, Critics point to it as one of the most tragic examples of Joe Biden's incompetent and disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal. This is the most the most incompetent decision he ever made was to pull out of Afghanistan in that way. Okay, I'm not for staying in Afghanistan. We should have never been there in the first place. There, I said it. But by critics, I mean anyone not employed by the White House, of course, his staff, everybody who's employed by the White House, they thought that this was the greatest decision ever. That Afghanistan withdrawal was disastrous, and it was one of Joe Biden's most incompetent decisions. Um, and if you're employed by the White House or corporate media, you probably think it was a great idea. It was definitely not. So on Monday, we've got this representative. He's Congressman Daryl Issa. He hosted Gold Star Families as we near the tragic anniversary here of the withdrawal of Afghanistan and these 13 service members being killed in a terrorist attack. Sorry, I'm getting choked up just thinking about it. Many of the parents used to use the opportunity to discuss the person that they blame for those loved ones no longer being with us. Um, they talked about how Joe Biden is the reason, and I he is the reason why um, that withdrawal was so terrible. So we're going to take a listen to this Gold Star mom, and she's going to share with you who she blames, and she's also going to share with you uh, Joe Biden's response to her son, Lance Corporal Dylan Merloa. Saying that right. Her name is Cheryl Rex, and she's the mother of one of these 13 service members who died. Let's take a listen to Cheryl. Here we go.
When Joe Biden, our elected president, entered the room, when he approached me, his words to me were, my wife Jill and I know how you feel. We lost our son as well and brought him home in a flag-draped coffin. My heart started beating faster, and I started shaking, knowing that their son died from cancer and they were able to be by his side. Also wondering how someone could honestly, be so heartless to say he knew how I felt a little over 24 hours and learning of my son's death. After this encounter, I have never had any personal correspondence, nor has my son been honored or his name spoken by this commander-in-chief or his administration on what I feel is because of their failures and poor planning to exit our troops from Afghanistan.
There you have it. That's Cheryl Rex, and she just said it like it was. Joe Biden is heartless. His response is heartless. And it's all too common because that's the same response that Joe Biden had with all of these Gold Star families. And all of these Gold Star families who spoke yesterday about their loved ones no longer being with us echoed what Cheryl Rex, the mother of Lance Corporal Dylan Merloa, or Marola, um, they all echo her same comments. The family of Lance Corporal Riley McCullum made the trip in 2021, but did not want to meet the man they blamed for their son being killed. So Riley McCullum, Riley's widow, who was pregnant at the time, agreed to meet with the president and regrets doing so. She said that Biden was more interested in talking about his son than her husband. So I guess Joe Biden had another son, died of cancer, and he tried to talk about his son rather than express some sort of apology, some sort of condolences about her son. Um, Shayna Chappelle, the mother of Lance Corporal Kareem Nakui, had a similar experience. Quote, he interrupted me and started talking about his son. This isn't about your son. It's about my son, Mark Schmitz. He was the father of Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz, and says that Joe Biden got snippy with him when he called out the president for making it about his son and not the sons and daughters who were victims of the actual attack, the terrorist attack in Kabul. Uh, wh- there, then there were reports here that Joe Biden kept checking his watch. We remember that during the dignified transfer, as if he had somewhere to go, as if he had somewhere that he needed to be. And it really just depends on who you ask, or who you really want to believe, because the independent fact checkers, they're going to say that no, Joe Biden didn't check his watch. But if you ask Darren Hoover, the father of Staff Sergeant Darren Taylor Hoover Jr., um, he'll say this quote, checking his watch. It didn't just happen once, it happened every single one that came out of that airplane, every single coffin that came out of that airplane. It happened on every single one. They would release the salute. He would look down at his watch on every last one, all 13. He looked down at his watch. So it depends on who you ask. The independent fact checkers, they're going to say, no, that didn't happen. But the dad who lost his boy in Afghanistan or in Kabul, right? That's he'll sit there and he'll tell you, I was there and I saw this. So who do you want to believe? You want to believe the independent fact checkers about that story, or do you want to believe the dad who lost his boy? All right, I do want to shift gears here. This is a wild story, and it's one of those stories where I'm like, wow, we live in America 2023. Is this is this our life now? So a Michigan woman, I guess she's a woman now. She has no testicles anymore, so she's a woman. She's suing her ex-boyfriend to get her testicles back. Yes, so I do have to take a break, and you're probably like, "Wait, Kat, I need to know more." That's okay. That's okay. You can come back after the break, or see me live on the live stream. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Rumble. You can see me there. Kat Peterson 929. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll be back in just a little bit with that story. Plus, I got a few other stories. One thing that I want to get to today, NBC just lying their faces off about abortion and how Democrats are not extreme when it comes to abortion, but I've brought all the receipts, folks. Not only has our Illinois governor, J.B. Pritzker, been extreme on abortion, but every other Democrat governor in the country has been extreme on abortion, and I've got all of the receipts. So, NBC, I'm sorry, but your lies, they're no good here. Hey, good morning. Thanks so much for tuning in. Please go ahead and smash the Rumble button, smash the like button if you're watching. I would greatly appreciate it. And share this out with your normal friends. So, um, yeah, Riley McCullum, she made the trip, or he made the trip in 2021, but did not meet the man they blamed for their son's killing. So his name is Janiyah. So Riley's widow. So I don't know exactly who was all in this. It seems like their son was killed, and Janiyah, Riley's widow, Riley McCullum, made the trip in 2021, but did not want to meet the man who blamed for son's killing. Um, yeah, so the family of Lance Corporal Riley McCullum didn't want to meet the guy who they blamed for his killing, Joe Biden, and his name is Riley McCullum. Now, Riley's widow, she was pregnant at the time, and she agreed to meet the president, and she regrets doing so. She said that Biden was way more interested in talking about his son rather than her husband. So just very tragic. This Gold Star families. These 13 service members who were killed in this disastrous withdrawal of Afghanistan. There was a terrorist attack, and they just weren't. It was just a terrible decision on Joe Biden's behalf. And instead of owning up to that and having the response of, oh, I don't know, consoling or having some sort of condolences, saying, I'm sorry, recognizing and honoring these service members, he decided to sit there and talk about his son. I think his son's name is Bo Biden, and he got cancer, but he got to be with his son when he died. That's the thing. That's the big difference here. None of these service members got to be with their loved ones when they were dying. Okay, so they died alone. They died in a terrorist attack, an explosion, probably in a lot of pain. Okay, and they left their families. In fact, we have Riley McCullum's wife pregnant at the time, pregnant with his baby, and he's gone, he's dead. And Joe Biden sits there and tries to talk about his son. Okay. So a little bit later, we are going to be talking about this trans woman who is suing her ex boyfriend to get her testicles back that are being kept in a refrigerator. Yes, you've heard me correctly. Completely insane story. It's out of Michigan, of all places. I'm sure a very wokesy type area. If you're watching right now, go ahead and smash the like button and be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Now, one thing that I did also want to talk about yesterday, I talked extensively about it. JB Pritzker. JB Pritzker was on CNN on Friday, and he was telling us about how this pregnancy resource center bill that penalizes pregnancy resource centers for deceptive practices, whatever they deem deceptive. It's like they think that they're the arbiters of truth. They aren't. They that nobody is the arbiter of truth except Almighty God. And Governor J.B. Pritzker thinks that he's God and he gets to decide what's deceptive, what's not when it comes to these pregnancy resource centers. And that's what this whole bill does. And he essentially compared it to what's going on with Donald J. Trump and the January 6th case. He says you have the right to free speech, but you don't have the right to lie. So, right there, we hear JB Pritzker. He's been emboldened by this crazy DA. And this isn't the first time that Jack Smith has gone after people before. He went after, gosh, he was a governor of Virginia, I think it was Bob McDonnell or something like that. And he was a governor of Virginia and he was running, and I think he was a presidential candidate, a Republican, and he went after him because it's political opposition, right? So Jack Smith has done this before where he uses his criminal prosecuting role or powers to go after the political opposition. So this has emboldened Governor J.B. Pritzker to essentially do the same thing where you feel emboldened to go after your political opposition and silence them and take away their um, religious speech, their freedom of speech, their First Amendment right. Right. That's what the judge said. Is this is he said this is painfully and blatantly an attack on the First Amendment. This bill that looks to penalize um, pregnancy resource centers for deceptive practices. So uh, he feels emboldened to draft up bills like this. Now, Governor J.B. Pritzker, he's always drafted up unconstitutional bills. And that's not me saying it, that's a federal judge saying it's unconstitutional. He's been doing this for a long time, okay? And he is a radical, but he now feels like he's emboldened to build legislation um, that is unconstitutional because Jack Smith has got an unconstitutional indictment. He's essentially indicting President Donald Trump for freedom of speech, for speaking publicly about what he thought about the election being stolen. But it is having the opposite effect. If they wanted to take out the political opposition, Jack Smith, I'm sorry, pal, you are in for a rude awakening because, man, oh man, the polls are out. Here is a poll. Trump 53%, DeSantis 15%, Ramaswamy 7%, Mike Pence 5%, Haley 3%, Scott 2%, Christie 2%, and all other candidates were at 1.7%. Good morning. This is the Morning Buzz. Thanks so much for tuning in. I so do appreciate it. And, I was talking through the break here on the live stream about Governor J.B. Pritzker, and man, I just can't shake this. And I'm going to just uh, to quote him directly here, Governor J.B. Pritzker said, "You have the right to free speech, but you don't have the right to lie." So he thinks that he is some sort of almighty truth police. He thinks that he is the arbiter, the ultimate arbiter of truth, and he knows exactly what truth is. Recently, a federal judge correctly ruled that this new Illinois law targeting pro life centers is, quote, painfully and blatantly a violation of the First Amendment. So he's trying to go after these pregnancy resource centers because uh, he doesn't like their speech. He doesn't like what's on their pamphlets, essentially. When you go into these pregnancy resource centers, living alternatives right here in Bloomington, they'll give you pamphlets, they'll give you literature, they'll provide services like counseling. They help you with baby diapers, they'll help you with baby clothes, they'll help you with all kinds of resources if you choose life, right? And they just help you. They're good people. And Governor J.B. Pritzker got out there and he said, "You know what? They're being deceptive." And he's weaponized really his attorney general, Kwame Raoul, to go out there and issue fines of up to $50,000 per deceptive speech. Like if there's like 4 things on a pamphlet that they think is deceptive, then they can issue like 4 fines of $50,000, which is wild to me. But Pritzker got out there on CNN and he said the quiet part out loud. He said, "You have the right to free speech, but you don't have the right to lie." So it is not, of course, right? Just you like that is totally not true. Um, Lies are generally protected under the Constitution. Okay, so you are yeah, and it's the same thing with, Donald Trump, and actually Pritzker brought that up. I think he feels emboldened by Jack Smith here, to create legislation that is unconstitutional and that goes after free speech because we have a criminal prosecutor, Jack Smith, who's not only done it once, but has done it multiple times. A case with Virginia governor where he was a Republican running, and they went after him, and the highest court of the land, the Supreme Court, looked at Jack Smith, said that this was ridiculous and that it was dangerous for criminal prosecutors to use their power in such a way to go after their political opposition. And I think that Jack Smith has really emboldened people like Governor J.B. Pritzker to do things that are unconstitutional because Jack Smith his whole case is based off the same thing. You know, he's big mad because Donald Trump lied, which Donald Trump didn't really lie. He says that the election was stolen. He was listening to certain people over other people. He chose not to listen to these experts, and he decided to listen to other people. And for that, he's being punished and he is being indicted on all kinds of conspiracy charges, which makes no sense. You are allowed to say whatever you want about that election. Okay, about the 2020 election. You want to say it was stolen? You can say it was stolen. I'll say it right now. The election was stolen. What are you going to do, Jack Smith? Come after me now? Like, you can say whatever you want about that election. It's your right. You have the freedom of speech. And it's something that we should be holding sacred. But these people, like Governor J.B. Pritzker and Jack Smith, they don't care. They don't care about your free speech. So I will be getting to some abortion extremism. Speaking about JB Pritzker, he has tweeted every single day about abortion for the last 5 days. Like every day, he tweets about abortion. He just loves abortion. And it used to be where Democrats held the belief that abortion should be safe, legal, and rare. We are far from that now. Abortions are done at extreme levels. 93,000 abortions, I think it is, and 12,000 of those are done after 21 weeks. So late term abortion. So I'm going to be getting into the numbers here. I've got all of the receipts because NBC is trying to lie their faces off right now about how Democrats are not extreme on abortion. They are. They are. So I will be getting into that. But first, let's get into this story. I know, I'm sorry. This Michigan woman, she's suing her ex-boyfriend to get her testicles back. Yes. So can't believe this. This woman, she had her testicles surgically removed, thus making her a woman. Uh, I guess I'll call him a woman. I don't know if removing your testicles like officially makes you a woman, but I'm just going to call this person a woman. She kept those testicles in a little jar in the refrigerator, and she claims that her ex is refusing to give her her testicles back. So Brianna Kingsley, per Detroit News, filed an affidavit against her boyfriend William, that he is, and I'm quoting here from the affidavit, retains possession of my surgically extracted testicles preserved in a mason jar kept in the fridge next to the eggs. Oh, imagine writing that down as some sort of, well, I don't know if this woman's got a lawyer or what, but oh man, like writing that down just makes me cringe. Now, it's unclear by that statement, in the fridge next to the eggs. Does Brianna mean uh like the ones from the supermarket or from someone's ovia or ovum, like their ovaries? Okay. Is I'm not too sure. Cat's still out of the bag. Who knows? So I'm doing my best not to ask a whole lot of questions here, and just give you the story, okay? And let this story sit with you this morning. So she also appears to be demanding $6,500 cash, with all the pain and suffering and all that jazz. But this is a true story. Brianna, she has appeared on her own TikTok. She has a video, and the video is titled The Unboxing of D's Nuts. So I watched the video, and she removes the bag, and the bag is called Bio. It has a big ol' um, like biohazard on it, sign, and she did a dance with the bag in her hand, and I'm assuming this bag has the testicles in it. It's unclear, um, but she does a dance with the bag in her hand on TikTok. And I'm just going to say it right now. The most offensive thing about this entire story is that this woman, Brianna, she damaged the sanctity of D's nuts jokes. She was trying to do like a D's nuts joke. If you don't know what these jokes are, they're hilarious. Okay, the D's nuts jokes are hilarious. It was a big thing like a couple of years ago. Um, with younger people, they love those jokes. I love these jokes, and I'm kind of disappointed that she damaged the sanctity of these jokes, by taking out an actual bag of her nuts. So William, the story gets worse though, folks. William, her ex-boyfriend, tells Detroit News this incident is clear evidence that Brianna has been harassing him after they split up, and that she took everything she wanted when she moved out, and William feels the whole thing is getting ridiculous. Quote, she's been harassing me ever since we broke up. I had to take out some sort of restraining order on her, or something. It's called a PPO. Then this is where it gets crazy, folks, because William was asked, "Do you have Brianna's testicles?" And he would only answer with, "I don't owe her anything." So he's not denying that he's got the testicles. Okay. So to summarize this story, the Michigan woman is suing her ex-boyfriend to get her testicles back that she had removed and was keeping in the refrigerator as a souvenir. It's 2023 in America, and yeah, that's where we're at now. Uh, I'll be back. It's a day in Y, so of course, uh, either a Democrat or someone in the media, but I repeat myself there because they're the same thing essentially. They're lying about how extreme Democrats are on abortion. It's a day ending in Y, Wednesday. That means today is a day. They do this every day. They lie about their extremism on abortion. I'll be back. Good morning. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in. I so do appreciate it. Now, I was kind of looking at some free speech cases. In 2012, the United States versus Alvarez, this is a decision. It was a 6-3 decision. And it says that it's unconstitutional to criminalize lies in a case involving a politician who lied about military decorations. Okay. So this politician lied. It's not cool that he lied about his military decorations, and it's pretty clearly um, able to be proved to be a lie. Um, Now, notably, in the court's warning about criminalizing false or misleading speech fits the Illinois law and Pritzker law to, or the Illinois law and Pritzker to a T. So the court said such laws would give government a broad power that's unprecedented in this court's cases or in our constitutional tradition. The mere potential for the exercise of that power casts a chill of the First Amendment cannot permit if free speech, thought, and discourse are to remain a foundation of our freedom. So it's chilling if you go after somebody for lying, okay, and it sets a bad precedent. So Pritzker, however, insists that the law is not just constitutional, legal, but noble. He explained that they are acting to prevent pro-lifers from saying something that's false. So they are just acting to prevent these pro-lifers, these pregnancy resource centers, um, from saying something that's false. So they are preventing that from happening. They're not even really going after them for lying. They're preventing any kind of lies from happening. So he added, remember what they're doing. They're putting crisis pregnancy centers next door to abortion rights centers, and they're directing people to go into their front door or telling them things that just aren't true often. And when that's the case, they ought to be held liable. Um, so clearly, there's no law against locating a pro life center near an abortion center or the inverse. Okay. So if abortion centers want to set up shop right next to a pro life center, they can do that. Yet Pritzker feels empowered by the prosecution of Donald Trump over his speech. Um, and like this is what he said directly. He goes, "It's just like the case against President Donald Trump. You have the right to free speech, but you don't have the right to lie." Ugh, tired. Hold on. If you guys are watching right now, go ahead and smash that like button. So Pritzker goes on and he talks about how this is just like Donald Trump, and let that sink in for a moment. Under Pritzker's view of the First Amendment, the government can prosecute anyone who is lying and push people into situations in which they are unaware of what their full rights are. The way to make sure that people know what their rights are is to prosecute lies. So, um, you have the right to free speech, but you don't have the right to lie. You don't have the right to use those lies to push people into situations in which, frankly, are breaking the law or where they're unaware of what their full rights are. So, we need to make sure that people know what their rights are when it comes to abortion. That's what JB Pritzker was talking about. And there's court precedent that says that people can lie. You can't go after people legally for lying. That's just um, the government should not be in the business of being a truth arbiter. So if you're watching right now, go ahead, smash the like button, give me a follow. We're going to be back in just a moment. I'm going to go grab me some more coffee. Wake up, pray up, and can you believe that story? A woman is suing her ex-boyfriend to get her testicles back, but she had them removed and was keeping them in the refrigerator as a souvenir. Yes, so she's got an affidavit. She's in court. She's working on getting her testicles back. It's 2023 in America, and wow, I just couldn't believe that story. Earlier in the show, we talked about the Gold Star family. So there was this Gold Star mom. She ripped into Joe Biden's response after her Marine son was killed, brought back home in a coffin. And she goes, how could somebody be so heartless? How could Joe Biden be so heartless and not even mention my boy, but talk all day about his son and how he died from cancer? But he got to be with his son when he died. I didn't get to be with my boy when he died. He was alone. So on Monday, there was congressman. He hosted a lot of Gold Star families as we neared the tragic anniversary of the Afghanistan withdrawal, where 13 American service members were killed in a terrorist attack in Kabul. And this is one of Joe Biden's probably most incompetent and disastrous decisions. It's going to go down in U.S. history as the worst. So I talked a little bit about, the family of Lance Corporal Riley McCullum, how they didn't want to go meet with Joe Biden and they blamed him for their son's death. Now, Riley's widow, she was pregnant at the time and she did agree to go meet Joe Biden. And she said that she regrets doing so because guess what? Joe Biden, like he was with Cheryl Rex, who talked before Congress to talk with them about her loved ones. Joe Biden was more interested in talking about his son rather than her husband and the father of her child, unborn child. So, talked a little bit about that in the live stream YouTube. You can see me live in studio, Cat Peterson 929. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I was telling you guys a little bit about JB Pritzker. One thing that I want y'all to kind of look up is this case. It's United States versus Alvarez, and this was a decision made in 2012. It has to deal with lying and free speech. So Governor JB Pritzker came out, and I'm directly quoting him here. He says, "You have the right to free speech, but you don't have the right to lie," which is not true according to the Supreme Court holding 6-3 that it's unconstitutional to criminalize lies. And this was a case involving a politician who had lied about his military decorations. So the court warned that criminalizing false or misleading speech, um, that it sets a very bad precedent, and it's um, giving government a broad power, unprecedented in court cases or in our constitutional tradition. The mere potential for the exercise of that power casts a chill of the First Amendment, and we can't permit this if we want to have free speech, free thought, free discourse, and if these are to remain the foundation of our freedom. So look that case up. It's United States versus Alvarez, and it has to do with this politician who lied about his military decorations. You have the freedom of speech. You cannot criminalize lying. Okay. And these pregnancy resource centers, they're not even lying. Okay. That's completely made up by JB Pritzker. He has not gone and probably spoke to one of these. I would highly doubt that he has gone and spoke to one of these women who work in the pregnancy resource center, who have utilized the pregnancy resource center. I highly doubt it. And he just deems it to be deceptive. He deems it to be a lie because he's an extremist. Speaking of which, NBC, they did an interview, Republican candidate Ron DeSantis and Dasha Burns. So she's on NBC. And today's a day that ends in Y. So, of course, either a Democrat or someone in the media, but I repeat myself because of the same thing. They're lying about how extreme Democrats are on abortion. So, here we have it, an NBC interview. The left has signaled they're going to make abortion a main part of their campaign. Of course, it makes perfect sense that they're going to make it a part of their campaign, their main campaign point this year, because Their base are unmarried women, and they are single-handedly keeping that party afloat. Governor J.B. Pritzker knows that. He's trying to speak to the women who are unmarried, crazy liberals with green hair and a nose ring. DeSantis made the factually accurate comment that Democrats support abortion up until birth. And this NBC News hack tried to push back on that for some reason. But hoo Miss Burns from NBC, have I got some news for you? I've pulled some receipts, and I'm not going to let you get away with the lie that Democrats are not extreme on abortion or that they're not for abortion up to 9 months. I've got the receipts. I've got to take a break, but we're going to be back here on the morning buzz. You can text in at 309-451-9299. You can also give me a call if you want to be a part of the show, 309-451-9299. See me live in studio, YouTube. Subscribe to my channel. That's Kat Peterson 929. Yeah, Sarah, you're exactly right. So Governor J.B. Pritzker, I'm pretty sure is not a practicing Christian. If he really wants to know what the truth is, Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. And just ask Christians if they think that um, abortion up to 9 months is the way, the truth, and the life. Because the Bible, the Bible, the basic instructions before leaving Earth, tell us that life is sacred. There is sanctity in human life, and Governor J.B. Pritzker doesn't believe that. So um, I will be talking about Governor J.B. Pritzker and his extremism when it comes to abortion. Now, I do want to get to a couple of other comments. Testes in a jar. LOL. This will be right up the troll patrol's alley today. Yeah, that story was completely wild, Brian. I'm glad that you stuck around for that story. Yes, a girlfriend, or well, this woman, she's suing her ex-boyfriend because she removed her testicles but kept them as a souvenir. Like, that's bizarre. That's a whole nother level of crazy. It's one thing to go in and cut your testicles off. It's all like a rabbit or like a cat neutering yourself. Um, like we do that to cats, dude. But he did it to himself, and it's a whole nother thing to do that and then to put your testicles in a bag and then store them in the refrigerator next to your eggs, like the ones you get from a supermarket. I think maybe not. Maybe he's like got human. I don't know, but human eggs from ovaries. Who knows? I mean, it's probably you open up the fridge and it's like, whoa, there's body parts in here. Um, but yeah, it's a whole nother thing to be out there, suing. I mean, he's suing for $6,000 as well as the testicles. He wants the testicles back. He wants the $6,000. And then it gets even weirder because the ex-boyfriend doesn't deny having them. Why do you want to keep them? Like, this is your ex. Why would you want to keep somebody else's testicles? Ugh. Um, Also, I think it's weird that the guy was dancing with them, like was in a video and started dancing with the testicles in to some sort of song. Crazy story. So we are going to be getting into NBC lying about Democrats being um, not extreme on abortion. There's also this other story. A woman is going viral for her joyous response to buying groceries without money. And all she had to do was scan her hand, and Amazon is going to send her a bill. So I guess it's through Whole Foods. It's not a microchip, it's a palm reading. So this is, this isn't one of those globalist conspiracies that aren't conspiracies as much as quoting people verbatim, but um, they said that, you're going to get a microchip in your hand, and it's going to be the new world order that they're going to be able to track you everywhere you go. I've heard of things like the mark of the beast is this microchip in your hand. It'll be interesting to find out um, what happens with the implantation of microchips. This is just one step towards that. So you put your hand on some sort of scanner, and then it scans your palm. Your palm is then linked up, your palm print is linked up to your debit card information, and then they bill you. So, yes, this is Amazon's new way to let you pay for goods with the wave of your hand. And CNBC, CNN, they have reported on this new way to pay, and they have essentially been marketing it um, as good little media acolytes do. So you got to get a load of this one. This woman, she's way too excited to be buying groceries with the swipe of her hand, in my opinion. This is a dystopian, cashless society crap that we're going through. The idea of a cashless society, very controversial. I'm going to be getting into that here in just a little bit. Go ahead, smash that like button. Would be great if you guys could do that. We're going to come back, talk about those couple of stories. And you can always text in at 309-451-9299 or give me a call. Smash that like button if you're watching. I can see you watching. Are you afraid you're going to be like shamed by your boss if you like a program like this one? Just smash the like button for me. Good morning. Hey, this is the Morning Buzz, and you won't believe it. Cashless society. I know it's a controversial topic, but we've got to talk about it because this woman is way too excited. She's going viral for her joyous response in buying groceries without any money. She has no cash, no debit card on her. All she does is scan her palm print. And this is Amazon's new way of letting you pay for goods with just the wave of your hand. So I'm going to explain that service to you. Amazon, I mean, it's not an implanted microchip. No, that would just be too conspiratorial, Cat. That's crazy talk. No, they aren't conspiracies. I'm just quoting people verbatim. They definitely want to microchip you, okay? This is the first step. This is the first step. Okay, they are going to microchip you. This is the first step to this. They get you excited about paying for goods with just your palm print. So I'm going to be talking about that plus Anheuser-Busch. They're now forced to sell off several brands to some sort of Canadian company in wake of this Dylan Mulvaney disaster. So we're going to be getting into that. But first, I do want to chat a little bit about NBC. I'm going to have to do a little bit of this story and then I'm going to pick it back up on the other side. But NBC, of course, they're lying again about Democrats and their position on abortion. Democrats are very extreme when it comes to abortion. You know that better than anybody because you live here in the state of Illinois. Your tax dollars are being paid out to people who want abortion. Okay, Governor J.B. Pritzker is out there every single day tweeting about abortion and how you can get an abortion, and said, who knows, the a birthday cake with it as well or something like that. Like, you go get an abortion and the state's going to pay for you to get a birthday cake too. Or yeah, who knows. One thing in the state of Illinois that really just I've got the receipt here, the getting rid of the parental consent. This is where if you're 12 years old, you used to have to get consent from a parent to go get, if you're a minor, to go get an abortion. That's not the case anymore in the state of Illinois. If you're a dad, your little girl could get pregnant and she could go get an abortion the next day for free, probably. And they don't have to tell you about it. The doctor doesn't have to tell you about it. She can just go get that. I don't even really want to call it a procedure because really what it is, it's barbaric. They snap the little legs and the little arms, and they take out the baby with some forceps. Have you ever listened to somebody who worked at Planned Parenthood? He testified before Congress. I listened to that guy's testimony. He talks about how they have to snap the legs in order for it to be pulled out, and they pull it out with forceps. That's barbaric. We shouldn't be doing it, but we're doing it at record rates because of the 930,000, that's almost a million abortions, annual abortions, 1.3% of them, 12,000, so 1.3% of 930,000, 12,000 babies are killed every year, and those babies are in late term abortions. Okay, so 12,000 of them, I think it's 21 weeks or more. So that's late term abortions. Those are just the numbers for you folks. Okay, so I've got the receipts here, 12,000 babies. Those are late term abortions of the 930,000 annual abortions. So we're going to come back and we're going to listen to NBC lie their face off. There was an interview between Dasha Burns and Republican president candidate Ron DeSantis. The left has signaled that they're going to make abortion a main part of their campaign. Of course, they have to. It's because the only people keeping them afloat, that party afloat, are unmarried single women who are leftist nuts, crazies. So we're going to be back. I've got the receipts on how Democrats on the issue of abortion are super extreme anymore. Good morning. Hey, thanks so much, Brian, Sarah. You guys are commenting. I appreciate it. Some say the chip is the mark of the beast. Yes, the beginning of the end. If you guys are watching right now, go ahead, smash that like button, like, love, share this out with your friends. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's a big one, Cat Peterson 929. But you're so right, Brian. I think it is the mark of the beast. The microchip in your hand, or maybe they'll put it in your forehead. God only knows what's going to happen here in the end days. Um, there's even more, right? So people have been like, Kat, do you believe in aliens? No, but I do believe that this talk about aliens, these congressional hearings where people are getting up there and saying that they see UFOs and stuff like that. What I really think that that is a sign of the times where people are going to have to try to explain. I believe in the rapture of the church, right? I believe that um, Christians will be raptured and there will be a period, I think it's 7 years, the tribulation, where literal hell on earth will commence. And the Antichrist is going to have to come to power and try to calm everybody down. And how are you going to explain all of these Christians being raptured without telling people that it's the rapture and that Jesus Christ is coming back? Because of course the Antichrist doesn't want people to believe in Jesus, even during the tribulation. He doesn't want them to believe in the Word of God, the Bible, the Bible. Um, so I think that their explanation is going to be, well, the Christians were all abducted. All these people, they were abducted by aliens. So they're kind of laying out the groundwork here to be able to explain why all these Christians are gone suddenly. Now you're like, Cat, do these DC people, do these bureaucrats in all of these different committees that study extraterrestrial life, study UFOs, are you actually saying that they know that the rapture is coming? And no. So I think that there's evil forces that work within these people, and these people don't even know why they're doing it, what they're doing, and they're just doing it. So I really do think that it's evil forces working through people um, to try to explain away how these Christians are going to be gone suddenly. So that's a sign of the times. This is definitely a sign of the times. This reading of your palm print when you are at the grocery store. So it's a new thing where Amazon, it's called Amazon. Hang on, let me look at the name of the service. Amazon One. And basically, customers give Whole Foods owned by Amazon now, their credit card or debit card information, and they link that information uh, to their palm print. And they scan your palm print and they send you a bill after you scan your palm print and shop. So it's not a microchip because cat, that's crazy. Why would they microchip you? Come on. They're reading your palm print. What's next? A microchip? And these microchips already exist. This isn't a conspiracy. This isn't conspiracy as much as they are. I'm quoting people verbatim about these microchips. So we have both as CNBC, CNN, they're reporting on Amazon's new way to let you pay for goods with the wave of your hand. Of course, CNBC and CNN, they're going to be uh, promoting this because they are the Democrats. So whatever the government wants, they're gonna um, promote. So we've got to get a load of this one. This woman going viral. She's very excited about buying groceries with no money and just the scan of her hand. So we're going to take a listen to this woman. So what is this dystopian cashless society junk? Well, the idea of a cashless society, it's always been a controversial one. And the Associated Press is always going to fact check it. They're going to say that, oh, this isn't a cashless society. So they fact checked this video that I will also play for you coming up here in the 7 o'clock hour. They fact checked this elitist World Economic Forum guy. He's straight up telling you that a cashless society is going to be regulated and undesirable purchases will be controlled, which meaning that you're not going to be able to purchase certain things, undesirable things. Now they're going to pitch it as, oh, we don't want you to purchase guns, or we don't want you to purchase beer or purchase pornography or something like that. So they're going to pitch it as like a good thing. We're going to rid society of all of its flaws. Not that guns are flawed, but you get what I mean. They're going to try to say that, it's just undesirable purchases, things that hurt people. And we're going to regulate it to where people who make these purchases can't make those purchases. So the AP, Associated Press, they fact checked this, Alita saying that, and they said that it was taken out of context, or that it was misleading, which it really wasn't. I've got the video here of that elitist talking about the digital cashless society and how he is going to determine less desirable purchases, and the people who are trying to make those less desirable purchases will be locked out of the cashless society. So NBC News, they lie their faces off. I'm telling you, they do it all the time when it comes to Democrats and their extremist abortion views. DeSantis, he was on with NBC, and he tries to make the accurate statement that Democrats are for abortion up to 9 months, and then the NBC media acolyte, the government, essentially the fourth branch of government, NBC, and all of these alphabet news outlets, she tries to defend Democrats naturally. And I'm sorry, lady on NBC, I've got the receipts. Democrats are totally for extreme abortion policy. Uh, it is not the party of safe, legal, and rare anymore. And I've got all of the receipts. We're going to get to that. Plus, one thing that I want to tell you about is this woman who is way too excited. She's going viral for her dystopian future. And she's buying groceries now with scanning her hand. So a palm print can be linked to a credit card. It's through Amazon. This is Amazon's new way to let you pay for goods. And this is just one step towards a dystopian cashless society. And I'm going to tell you what that cashless society is and how it's dangerous and what the World Economic Forum tries to do and is trying to do actively today, tomorrow, the next day when it comes to this cashless society and what their overall plan is. So, also, I do want to talk about Anheuser-Busch. They're forced to sell off all of these brands, several brands. One of my favorite brands, I really like Shock Top. They're selling that brand off to a Canadian company in wake of this Dylan Mulvaney disaster. So despite the global CEO saying, well, it's just, 1% of our sales, America, it's just 1% of our sales. Shut up. You guys are struggling. You guys had massive layoffs. You guys are selling off several brands. So the boycott is working. Don't let this globalist CEO get you down. So let's talk about NBC. Of course, it's a day and why. So either a Democrat or someone in the media, but I repeat myself, is lying about how extreme Democrats are on the issue of abortion. So yesterday's version of this took the took the form of an NBC News interview between Dasha Burns and Ron DeSantis. So the left, they are, and JB Pritzker knows this. This is why he talks about abortion. I counted how many tweets in the last 5 days. He's tweeted every single day about abortion for the last 5 days. Uh, okay, so he wakes up, his head pops off the pillow, and he's like, what can I tweet about abortion today? How can I promote abortions today? So that's what JB does. Okay. And these leftists and these Democrats know that this is their main campaign sale because they're gonna try to sell this. And because unmarried women single-handedly keep that party afloat, the Democrat Party afloat. So DeSantis here, he made a factually accurate statement. And he said that Democrats are for abortion up to 9 months. That is factually accurate. Dasha Burns, then, of course, being the good little media puppet that she is, tried to defend Democrats and said, that's just not true. That's just not true. So let's take a listen. Here we go.
So would you veto any sort of federal bill that tries to put a nationwide ban in place?
So we will be a pro-life president.
Okay, so he says that he's going to be a pro-life president, and I'm very excited about that with Ron DeSantis. Here's the rest of the clip. Here we go.
And we will support pro-life policies. I would not allow what a lot of the left wants to do, which is to override pro-life protection.
This clip is having a hard time. Let's see.
1.3% of abortions.
Genocide.
Well, actually, I got to push back on you on that because that's a misrepresentation of what's happening. I mean, that 1.3% of abortions happen at 21 weeks or higher. There's no evidence of Democrats pushing for.
So yeah, the clip is having a hard time playing, but essentially, it's probably buffering because they're trying to censor it because it's so good. But what this woman says, she pushes back on Ron DeSantis after he says Democrats are for abortion up to 9 months. So she goes, whoa, I'm going to push back on you, and I'm going to say this statistic. She goes, well, only 1.3% of annual abortions are 21 weeks or older, so late term. So only 1.3% of abortions are late term. This is the statistic that she decides to throw out there to claim that Democrats are not pushing for late term abortions because they just don't happen. Late term abortions don't happen, which let's break down the numbers. When she says 1.3%, you have to understand that is of a huge number of abortions annually. So annually, we're looking at 930,000 abortions done. And of those 930,000, 1.3% of them, so let's do the math, that's 12,000 late-term abortions done every single year. 12,000 babies killed a year. So then she fails to mention the policy, okay? So she tries to go after Ron DeSantis and just say that it's not true, that statistically late-term abortions don't happen, which I just broke down those numbers for you, 12,000 babies a year. That's a lot. Okay, so I don't know about you, but you put 12,000 people into a room and you're going to feel pretty crowded. So she also fails to mention that, hey, here's the Democrat policies. She doesn't mention the Democrat policies that are for this. So the Maine Democrat governor, Janet Mills, she signed a bill that would allow abortions at any time if deemed medically necessary. So at any time. Colorado, under Democrat Governor Jared Polis, signed a law guaranteeing any form of an abortion at any time for any reason. Okay. So then we've got New York bragging about how they have the most extreme pro abortion bill out there. If you give New York Democrats a few more election cycles, most likely what we're going to see is abortion legal in the 7th trimester. Like, you're going to be able to slit your 5-year-old's throat. I bet. Like, I'm not kidding you. That's how extreme these people are. And then right here in our very own home state, not only do we have Governor J.B. Pritzker going after pregnancy resource centers, these centers that where a woman, if she chooses, they're not pro-choice, they're pro-abortion. Because if this woman chooses life and chooses to have her child, she can go to one of these resource centers and get the resources that she needs. It's just proof in the pudding here. Governor J.B. Pritzker going after those pregnancy resource centers. He is pro-abortion. He's pro-abortion. And he even got rid of parental consent, which means 12-year-old girls can go get an abortion without telling her parents. The doctor is not obligated to tell her parents. It used to be where the parents would have to be notified if she's going to go through a procedure. And I use that term lightly. Because it's really not a procedure, it's a barbaric practice where they snap the limbs of children, and they pull those limbs out of the womb. So, yeah. And then she failed to mention that there's a bill right now that Joe Biden is trying to get passed. It's to codify Roe. And what it does, it makes, and Joe Biden has been making this a cornerstone of his reelection campaign, by the way. He wants to codify Roe. And what it does, it makes abortion legal through 9 months, and it nullifies any pro-life legislation that individual states have passed. So any kind of pro-life legislation, 6-week heartbeat bills, anything like that, that the states have the right to do now that the overturning of Roe v. Wade happened, Joe Biden is actively trying to work on bills. He's making it the cornerstone of his reelection campaign, where it would take it away from the states and it would nullify any kind of pro-life legislation that has been passed, and it would make abortion legal up to 9 months. So tell me again, NBC lady, tell me again that Democrats are not extreme when it comes to abortion, because that's just a flat out lie. Tell me again that they don't exist, because I just gave you the number: 12,000 babies a year killed in late-term abortions. Late-term abortions. That's not even counting the abortions prior to 21 weeks. 930,000 overall. So a year. So tell me again, NBC lady, tell me again. All right, I do want to move on, but one more thing I want to say about the abortion thing. None of us should be surprised that the Democrats campaign on abortion. That's going to be their number one focus. Number two, it's going to be Donald Trump. And they're going to try to say that he lied about that 2020 election, and they're going to try to throw him behind bars for speaking publicly and freely about his thoughts about the election, having a thought crime, essentially speaking his thoughts publicly. So they're going to go after Donald Trump. That's going to be another staple in their 2024 campaign. Every Democrat, right down to your dang dog catcher. If he's a Democrat, this is going to be his focus in the 2024 election. Abortion, Trump. Number 3, lying about abortion. They're going to sit there and they're going to say, no, we want it to be safe, legal, and rare. Because I know, you know, everybody knows that people, they don't really like the idea of babies being slaughtered. Okay? People don't like the idea of 9-month term abortion, like 9-month abortion up to 9 months. We have an issue with that. So we need to be prepared, and we need to counter their attacks. So every Republican listening, and I don't care if you're running for dog catcher, okay? When and if the abortion issue comes up, You need to hold their feet to the fire and you need to ask them flat out. You need to say, "Are you for abortion up to 9 months? Can a woman do you believe that a woman should be able to abort their baby at 9 months?" And make sure that they answer and don't let them not answer. Okay, I do want to switch gears. Let's talk about this woman. She's going viral because she's got this joyous response because now she gets to buy groceries without any money, and all she has to do is swipe her hand and scan her hand. It's a palm print. And then Amazon is going to send her a bill in the mail. So, to be clear, she doesn't have a microchip in her hand. It's a palm print that is read and scanned. And then her palm print is linked to her debit card or credit card information. Now, this is all through Amazon. CNBC, CNN, they've reported that this is Amazon's new way to let you pay for goods with only the wave of your hand. So, of course, CNBC, CNN, they're promoting this. It's called Amazon One. And essentially, what it does, it gives customers who go to Whole Foods, which is owned by Amazon, the ability to scan their palm print and then they're billed after you scan your palm print because the palm print is linked to your debit card information. Let's take a listen to this woman because she's way too excited about this cashless society crap. Um, here we go. Let's take a listen.
I am going to pay with my palm. The thing is, there's this new technology that lets you connect your credit card and your ID to your palm so that you don't have to carry any credit cards with you anymore. You don't even have to have your phone with you. This is my total. This is my palm. This is me scanning it. And I would later be able to see my purchases in my Amazon account. Do you think it's convenient or just another way to track us everywhere? I got my fruit, I got my
Do you think that it's just another way to track us everywhere? Yes. Yes, I do. So, what is this dystopian cashless society junk cat? Well, the idea of a cashless society is a controversial one. We have the Associated Press doing all kinds of fact checks on this one video of an elitist World Economic Forum agent um, telling you straight up that there is coming a time where we will be in a digital cashless society, and that's going to be regulated by, drumroll please, the government. And any kind of undesirable purchases that are made, they can either deny those purchases or deny you participation in this cashless society if they deem these purchases undesirable. So things like, he mentioned pornography in this video. So um, the left saying verbatim, um, we're going to have a digital currency. This is what they've been saying. Now, have they said verbatim, we're going to do a digital currency and we're going to control what you are allowed to buy? No. But would any of us put it past them? Also, no. Right? We wouldn't put it past them. There's this World Economic Forum agent. I'll play the clip here for you. He openly is telling you about a digital cashless society that would be and uh, how if they determine less desirable purchases being made, you could be locked out of this society. Let's take a listen.
About digital forms of physical currency. You can have programmability, units of central bank currency with expiry dates. You could have.
Yeah, so he has been saying, I don't know if this is going to play, but he's
Better, and some people might see it as a darker world where the government decides that units of central bank money can be used to purchase some things, but not other things that it deems less desirable, like, say, ammunition or drugs or pornography or something of the sort. And that is very powerful in terms of.
So there he says it. This is a World Economic Forum agent saying that, hey, if the government deems one of these purchases undesirable, he even says munitions, drugs, pornography, things like that. So you could be locked out of this cashless society. Very authoritarian, very scary. And look, folks, um, this is a red flag. This scanning of your hand, this palm print, this is a red flag. And remember this red flag. I do have to take a quick break. We're going to continue this story a little bit because I have some examples of this dystopian cashless society at work here in America. Plus, this Canadian company bought all kinds of brands from Bud Light, Anheuser-Busch, from Anheuser-Busch. So they aren't doing so hot. They had to sell all of these brands off to a Canadian company. I'll be right back.
Davis Restoration to stay on top of the weather situation, including watches and warnings, anytime, day or night. When threatening weather hits, turn to Cities 92.9. Paul Davis Restoration Severe Weather Center for up-to-the-minute weather updates. Keep your family safe when severe weather is in the area. Tune in to the Paul Davis Restoration Severe Weather Center on Cities 92.9.
You're listening to the Morning Buzz. Kat Peterson. Catch me, Dan Bongino, for the Dan Bongino Show at 11 today. I'm right after Glenn Beck on Cities 92.9.
Yeah, up cat. What's new, cat? Cat class and I got cat style.
Good morning. Hey, this is the Morning Buzz. You can be a part of the show by texting in to 309-451-9299. The government is not going to openly admit that they're trying to control people and their purchases. We have to be smart enough to recognize it and push back from this. Yes, we were talking about cashless society. I played for you a video of this woman that was all too happy to be purchasing some fruit at a grocery store, Whole Foods, which is owned by Amazon, with her Amazon One service. So this is where your palm print is linked up to your credit or debit card, and you can scan your palm print and they'll send you a bill after you shop. So she was all excited about that. She's gone viral, scanning her hand. It's not a microchip because, oh man, Kat, that's just a conspiracy theory. Microchips are, that's just wild. That would never happen. Okay. We'll see in just a couple of months how conspiratorial that is. But CNBC, CNN, they're promoting this as a new way to let you pay for goods with the wave of your hand. Okay. This is cashless society stuff. We had a World Economic Forum agent coming out and saying, hey, we're going to regulate this cashless society. And we are going to determine less desirable purchases that are made. And we're going to lock you out if you make these less desirable purchases. And he gave some examples like drugs, ammunition, pornography, things like that, which, yeah, we would say that all of those things, not mean ammunition, but we would say that drugs, pornography, things like that are bad for society. However, it's a very like who deems what desirable, right? And, this is a big red flag, this palm print thing, where you scan your palm print. Another big red flag was when this man had his Amazon smart home shut down. I told you guys about this story. Apparently, Amazon thought that his Ring doorbell had said a racial slur to this guy delivering something to his front door. So his primary means of interfacing with all of his devices was through these Amazon Echo devices. So all of his devices in his home, he has a smart home, they went down, and he contacted Amazon, and he goes, look, I've been locked out of my account. I don't know why. And they said it was because he had said some racist remarks through his Ring doorbell to a delivery driver. And he goes, well, that's not true because I wasn't home at the time this delivery driver came up and dropped off my stuff. Plus, I don't even have a Ring doorbell. It was a different brand. So the doorbell had an automated response, and this was easily able to be proven. Like, he wasn't even at the home, and the Ring doorbell says, excuse me, can I help you? This is on automated response programmed in. And the driver, who was wearing his headphones at the time of delivering these packages, said that he heard something else. And he even provided video evidence that he did not say any kind of racial slur towards this delivery driver. But Amazon didn't care. They shut down his smart home. He wasn't able to use any of his devices. The man wasn't home at the time, and he didn't say anything racial slur because it's on video. The delivery driver, the automated response, it's all on video. We've also got an example here. I remember talking about this story, a smart thermostat, and how this guy uh, was shut out of controlling his air conditioning for climate change reasons. This was a climate change reasons. This was a story out of Colorado where his smart thermostat wouldn't allow him to turn down the air conditioning because of climate change reasons. Tesla, they were sending out government messages to all the cars about how it was a strong suggestion to conserve electricity and to not use as much electricity in your Tesla. So hard pass on the scanning my hand thing. I see that as a big red flag. We're going to be talking with Scott Robbins here on the other side. This is the Morning Buzz. You can see me live in studio, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. Subscribe to the channel. That's Cat Peterson 99. Scott Robbins joins me next.
This news is being brought to you by
The news is brought to you by
And can you hear the sound of the stereo? That's the deployment of my America. All across the area,
What would you do with $1 billion? Scott Robbins, over to you here on the Morning
Well,
Buzz. What would you do
You
with
know,
$1
Kat,
billion?
I'm not a great gambler. I'm not a big gambling guy. I don't like to gamble because I don't like to lose money. And it's just something about it I just don't dig. I mean, you put $5-10 on the Super Bowl or something. All right, have fun. Get a couple of squares, 7 and 5, and if the game ends with 7 and 5 or what, you know what I mean? Little games like that. And I play fantasy baseball. I guess that's a form of, but there's a skill involved. But anyway, it's just when I play the lottery, I always wait. I don't know why I do this, but I do it all the time. I very rarely play. But when I do play, it's when the jackpots are astronomical, right? And like 100 million is not enough. I need 300 or 400 million before I'll play. Because 100 million may not screw up my life completely, but 300, 400 million will. So it got to 1.5 billion. I'm like, well, hey, man, I'm going to go ahead and play. So I played. And, Kat, unfortunately, I'm here to tell you there was one winner, and that winner isn't me. Although it is 2023. So I'm telling you right now, I'm the winner because I identify as a Mega Millions winner today. So, and if you don't like it, that's too bad because I'm the winner. Look at me.
Look at
somebody,
me. I'm the winner.
Yeah, somebody in Florida won.
Ooh.
So, I mean, good for them. It was they were at one of the Publix stores there. They're like the convenience stores around southern part of the world. But in a Publix store, somebody picked a winning ticket, and it was a one winner, not shared by anyone. And, of course, nobody knows who it is yet. And I guess the question is, would you want people to know you won? And to that, I would say probably not. If I could keep it anonymous, I probably would. I would tell a very close circle of people around me that I did.
See, I would have the complete opposite approach. Everybody's going to know that I won because I'm going to make it very, very clear. I'm going to, like, I love this video. This guy wins the lottery. He dresses up in a panda suit costume, and he goes to work, and he just causes havoc. He starts breaking the cubicles. He starts like running around the office in this costume. And he goes, "What? I won the lottery. Like there's nothing you can do to me now."
Yeah, right. There is something satisfying about that. I agree.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me the other day, well, what would you do with the money? I don't think about that kind of astronomical amount of money, right? Mm-hmm. And I said, I think I'd probably buy some sort of interest in a Major League Baseball team. Whether it's minority ownership or, 20% piece, basically enough to get me into a skybox whenever I want.
Ooh.
And have some sort of say so over what happens. But that might be one of the things. And outside of that, I really don't. I mean, you take care of your family and all, but my family's not that big. So, yeah, after all that, who knows? I don't know. I'd figure it out. But I didn't win anyway, Kat. I did play, but I didn't win. I only played $6.
Oh, okay.
Not that it matters. I know people play like $60, $100, $150, $200 when it gets this high.
Not me.
It's
I've
like,
got no luck when it comes to that.
Yeah, I can't do that kind of thing. Joe Biden yesterday was interesting. He was at the Grand Canyon. Do you know that? He was at the Grand Canyon yesterday.
Oh, did he fall in?
And he well, of course, he's Environmental Joe.
Did he fall in? Sometimes I feel like they've got to take him to the bathroom, make sure he doesn't fall in.
I don't think they got him close enough for that. Anyway, it was, and that's the safe thing to do, right? So the backdrop was the Grand Canyon. Now, Kat, I know that, again, it's been a long time since I've been in school, a lot shorter time for you, but I know we studied at one point in time, I believe it was in junior high, maybe freshman, sophomore, the 7 wonders of the world. Mm-hmm. And I used to be able to rattle them off. I can't do that anymore. I mean, I looked them up this morning and I remembered most of them. But some of you even forget. But there's 7. The number. That's the thing. The number is the thing, right? The 7 wonders of the world. Mm-hmm. And some people would say there's an 8th wonder and they've tried to include other things, but it doesn't matter. Joe Biden yesterday decided the Grand Canyon was one of them. Got it? But anyway, he wanted you to know that how many wonders there are in the world now. And apparently during his administration, wonders of the world have grown. Listen to this.
The Grand Canyon, one of the Earth's 9 wonders of the world.
Okay, got all that.
Literally.
One of the ERPs.
Think of that.
I
You know,
did.
It's amazing.
There are only
Okay.
There
There
are
are
only
7 wonders of the world. There are 7 wonders of the world, not 9, Joe. And it's Earth, not Earth.
Earth.
Did I hear that correctly? Play that one more time because I believe he said Earth. I don't know what that means. I think it's Earth, but I'm not sure. Earth. Okay, thank you. That's right.
Earth.
One of the Earth's 9 wonders. Oh,
Oh,
I
I
know the
will
words
some
of them.
of
I
them.
can't.
I can name them. I mean, I think I
What?
know a
Nobody
couple.
asked him to name
The
them.
Taj Mahal. If you don't know it, say anything.
Just
at all.
or either that, or who is writing these statements for you? I mean, if you're going to talk about these wonders of the world, I mean, if that's what you're going to do, then you got to be armed with that information, right? I mean, there's people around it. Who know that. I mean, I don't listen to freelancing right there, which is dangerous territory.
He was
Holy
going off
smokes!
script. He's going off script.
I suppose that's possible, but man, I'll tell you what.
Imagine the sweat just dripping from their brow when he gets up there.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And, you know,
It's
this
probably better for Mitch McConnell. His team probably like, oh God, can we get him up there?
right. So, jeez. So so Biden was wearing the ball cap yesterday. You know, some cap he had on, but at any rate,
And the aviators.
you know, and I get this all the time. Making fun of the elderly. Hey, look, man, the guy's the president of the United States. All right, he's barely functional. If I can't demonstrate to you how far gone he is, I'm not doing my job. So there you go. MSNBC wants you to know, wants Joe to take Kamala off the bench. They say, hey, you got to take her out. You got to let her be her. And I think that's a great plan.
Yeah.
Make sure to give her the Venn diagrams to help pass the time, all the passage of time she can travel as time passes. I think that's one of those things that should happen right now. I'm for it. West LA, did you see this story? The 7-Eleven there?
Oh yeah.
7-Eleven in
God.
West Los Angeles has had enough. The homeless encampments in front of their store and in their parking lot has grown proportionately over time. The city is not willing to do anything about it. You've heard this story a million times over in these cities. And so the guy who owns the 7-Eleven decided, I'm going to try something. I don't know if it'll work, but I'm at wit's end here, trying to keep my business open, right? Nobody wants to come here, and I understand that. So he decided that, and for some reason, I don't know why he chose this song exactly, but he's got Toto's song Africa on a loop, and it plays loudly in front of the store and into the parking lot over and over and over and over and over again. It's on repeat. So 24/7, this thing is rolling Africa from Toto. You know what? It's working. The homeless population in front of his store has dropped precipitously because they can't take it. They can't hear Africa over and over and over again. So they've moved on to other places. It hasn't solved the problem, but in terms of where it is in front of his business, it has solved the problem. Because you dare not take force into your own hands. And you don't know what you're dealing with some of these people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, calling law enforcement doesn't do any good. None of it works. So he decided, I'll just try this. And so far it's working. And we'll see what happens. State Fair opens today. Did you see that?
I did. I'm excited.
Are you excited?
to go.
Are you going to the State Fair?
Yeah, I think I might go for maybe like Governor's Day, Republican Day, something like that. I don't know.
Okay.
Do some interviews, walk around, see what.
Any entertainment strike your fancy this year?
No, but my brother's going to go see the Doobie Brothers with his buddies.
I got to tell you
I
something,
didn't get
man.
the invite. I know.
Go see the Doobie Brothers if you get a chance. I saw them when they played here in Peoria, and it was awesome. Michael McDonald's with them. They go down I mean, it's a fun show. You know every song. It's the Doobie Brothers jukebox. It's just fun.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, yeah. So, but J.B. Pritzker's there today. Do you know that?
Oh, of course he is.
He's going to be walking around the State Fair, and he's going to be proposing a new corn dog and lemon shake-up tax, by the way. It's time these corn dog people paid their fair share.
Yeah.
He's had enough.
I wonder if that who is that? Jamie Lynch? Is that who that is? I don't know. She plays Sue Sylvester on Glee, and she's an Illinois State grad.
Jane Lynch. Yeah.
Jane Lynch. That's it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know who she is really.
Yeah,
I don't know
well,
what else she plays in, but
that's all right.
she has that infamous video out there where she's singing into a corn dog, trying to convince people to move to the state of Illinois through their media campaign to get people to come to Illinois and tour Illinois, move here. I don't know. Jane Lynch singing into a corn dog just doesn't.
Yeah,
do it for
work.
me.
Well, no, it doesn't work for anybody. But I'm sure somebody thought it was clever, and then they went to work for Bud Light after that. So, anyway, all right. Talk to you later, Kat. Have a good day.
I'll talk to you later, Scott Robbins.
See ya.
Scott Robbins is back tonight at 8:00. 8:00 tonight. Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. You guys won't want to miss that show. You'll be laughing so hard. Speaking about laughing, let's take a laugh at Anheuser-Busch because now they're selling off all of their brands to a Canadian company. That's next.
And GMC dealer in Pontiac. Meet the team and shop the new and pre-owned inventory. Driscoll's, your did it, done it, and still dealing dealer.
A 36-year-old Postal Service worker was identified as the person killed in a two-vehicle crash Monday morning in Bloomington at the intersection of Ashley Drive and Beach Road, McLean County coroner Kathy Yoder said Ronald W. Bethard Jr. of Pontiac died from multiple blunt injuries due to his Postal Service vehicle being struck by a sport utility vehicle. The McLean County Board is looking for a new representative for District 8. Jeannie Biles announced her resignation Sunday, effective immediately after relocating out of state for professional opportunities. The Back to School Alliance held its 25th anniversary giveaway at State Farm yesterday. Qualifying students received invitations to get a book bag and some school supplies. More than 4,000 students from District 87 and Unit 5 benefited from the event. Rivian plans to make more electric cars this year than originally planned at its factory here in Normal. In a letter to shareholders detailing the second quarter results, Rivian said it expects to make 52,000 electric vehicles this year, up from the initial production goal of 50,000. Rivian also said Tuesday that it is still on track to make a profit sometime next year. News on the air, on the web, on your app, and on Alexa. I'm Tom Davis.
Forecast on Cities 92.9.
I'm staff meteorologist John Weatherby. Showers and thunderstorms are likely, diminishing to showers, possibly a thunderstorm late afternoon. Some locally heavy rainfall, high today of 81.
The weather's being brought to you by Wireless Data Net. Stop putting up with crappy internet. Switch to Wireless Data Net with no contracts. Try them risk-free for 30 days with their money-back guarantee.
It's back. Receive a 30% tax credit for a limited time on GeoComfort geothermal systems at Bratcher Heating and Air. You can save up to 75% on your heating and cooling costs and receive a 30% tax credit. Make the switch today and start enjoying the benefits and savings with a GeoComfort system from Bratcher's. Call or log on to BratcherComfort.com.
Bratcher Heating and Air, making home comfortable again.
I know Jim wants a new truck. I also know Jim knows we can't afford to get one this year. So I'm surprising him with an S&S Paint and Body gift certificate. They can take out those nasty dents and dings, give it a sweet new paint job, along with a detailing package, including a hand wash and wax, cleaning the windows inside and out, plus a much needed tire treatment. He's going to be so excited. It's the next best thing to a new truck.
Put a smile on your spouse's face. Take a trip to S&S Paint and Body or visit snspaintbody.com.
Cities 92.9 Sports.
Right back in the win column for the Chicago Cubs as they rallied to beat the New York Mets 3-2 last night. After trailing 2-0 in the first, Chicago got on the board in the fourth on a Cody Bellinger homer to make it 2-1. Then with the game tied at 2, Mike Tauchman hit a solo homer in the eighth that proved to be the game winner. Cubs and Mets again from New York in the rubber game of the series tonight at 6:10. The good news for the Cubs, Milwaukee and Cincinnati both lost. Cubs back to only 1.5 behind the Brewers. Cards lose to Tampa Bay 4-2, and the White Sox lose to the Yankees 7-1. ESPN has signed a licensing deal with Penn Entertainment to create ESPN Bet, a sports book for audiences in the United States. Penn will rebrand its current sports book to ESPN Bet later this fall in the 16 states where it's licensed. I'm Chris Murphy, Cities 92.9 Sports.
Good morning. This is the Morning Buzz. Anheuser-Busch Y'all suck. I'm telling you. This was a poor decision. This Dylan Mulvaney disaster marketing thing that you guys did. You're hemorrhaging money, and I don't care what the global CEO, Michael, says. Okay. Now he's claiming that the company's decline post Bud Light fallout is only 1% of the company's global sales volume. So he really says, like, screw you, America. We really don't care about you buying Bud Light or not because at the end of the day, I'm still making millions. That's essentially what the global CEO of Bud Light said. Now, this is their latest attempt to try to right the ship, and they're trying to sell off several of their brands to this Canadian company, and they've been successful. So they definitely sold off these brands. The beer company that was once popular in Middle America is selling 8 of its American-made craft beer brands to a Canadian company. Ooh, it doesn't get much worse than that, folks. So it's called Tilray, is this Canadian company. And they purchased things like Shock Top, Blue Point Brewing Company, Red Hook Brewery, a few others. I'm not going to name them all. I really like the Shock Top beers. I used to drink those on the boat. I thought those were pretty good. But the sales include current employees. So they get all of the employees, they get all of the breweries, they get the brew hubs associated with these brands. And it comes at the heels of Anheuser-Busch announcing all of these massive layoffs this last month. So, yeah. Point is, and I just want to make this clear, these people, they never considered Middle America. Okay. They've always been marketing to New York City in the last, I don't know, 10, 15 years, Anheuser-Busch. This is just an accident that was waiting to happen with the Dylan Mulvaney thing. Okay. So they thought it would be a great idea to align the company with this controversial transgender TikTok performer, Dylan Mulvaney. And the reason they thought that was a good idea because they've removed themselves from Middle America. They have no idea what you go through. Uh, they could care less about marketing beer as much as they do about this check box marketing. They want to check all these boxes. If you're trans, gay, black, woman, I don't know. They want to start checking off all of these boxes because what this does, it makes these coastal elitists feel very good about themselves when they can, bump elbows with other coastal elitists and they can virtue signal. And it doesn't matter if Anheuser-Busch damages their brand of being a beer for Middle America because they don't even really know what Middle America is anymore. I think that they've been living these bubble lifestyles of people within this company, and they have no idea what an actual bar is like, what an actual restaurant is like, convenience store, grocery stores across America. They have no idea what they're all about because they don't go to those places. They live in these mansions on the East Coast. I mean, you guys remember how we got here. The Bud Light VP who made the decision to hire on Dylan Mulvaney, Alyssa, she attacked customers from her $8 million home, Central Park home, after hiring this San Francisco-based influencer marketing firm to set her up with this controversial TikTok performer, Dylan Mulvaney. We know how we got here. They don't care about Middle America because they don't know what it is. Like, that's how far removed these people are. So they are selling off several of their brands to this Canadian company. And this is just shortly after they had all of these massive layoffs. Coming up, I do want to discuss this story. Speaking about transgender people, trans woman, she's suing her ex-boyfriend to get her testicles back that are being kept in a refrigerator in a mason jar. So she cuts off her testicles. She keeps them as a souvenir. And her ex-boyfriend apparently has them and he won't give them back. So she's trying to sue him. And like, there's an actual lawsuit here. Plus, I do want to get to this story. It's heartbreaking. This Gold Star mom, she's ripping into Joe Biden's response after her Marine son was killed in Kabul. And she just questions Joe Biden. How could he be so heartless? How could he be so heartless in that he doesn't even recognize, he doesn't honor, he doesn't offer any kind of condolences for my son? Instead, he sits there and talks about his son, Beau Biden, who died of cancer, and he got to be with his son when he died. However, this Gold Star mom, she didn't get to be with her Marine son who got blown away in Kabul. So I've got her comments. She spoke in front of Congress.
Your options so you can make an informed choice.
years is a big deal, especially when you're busy like we are.
A 3-year license won't be at a discounted rate. It will cost 3 times the amount of the 1-year license. The law takes effect January 1st. At the state capitol, I'm Kim Howard.
Stay tuned. Meteorologist John Weatherby has a look at your forecast coming up. News on the air, on the web, on your app, and on Alexa. I'm Tom Davis.
Cities 92.9.
I'm staff meteorologist John Weatherby. Showers and thunderstorms are likely, diminishing to showers, possibly a thunderstorm late afternoon. Some locally heavy rainfall, high today of 81.
The weather's being brought to you by Bab Service. When your AC isn't keeping you cool, don't get mad. Call Bab Service. They'll cool things down in a hurry. When something in your home doesn't work, call Bab Service.
From the Johns and Lexington studios, if you're an experienced body shop technician who is looking to grow your career, join Johns in Lexington. We're growing. To join the team, apply in person at Johns in Lexington. The Morning Buzz with Kat Peterson. This is your hometown conservative talk show that examines today's stories through a brand new lens. This is The Morning Buzz, brought to you by McLean County Asphalt. They've been repairing driveways for more than 50 years. The Morning Buzz with Kat Peterson on Cities 92.9.
Oh boy, Mike Pence, my dude. Oh, this is the cringiest ad I have ever seen. It's like if Bud Light made a GOP commercial. Okay, so Mike Pence, he's got this new ad out there. I'm going to share it with you on my screen. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the ad. I'm going to play the audio here for the radio listeners, but you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's Kat Peterson 929. And I'm on Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. So this is the ad that Mike Pence decided was good, and he put out there. He just recently tweeted it. Let's take a listen to it. This is as if Bud Light were to make a GOP ad. I'm telling you right now, this is inauthentic. Here's Mike Pence, my dude. You need to stop.
Hey, everybody. Mike Pence here. Remember $2 a gallon gas? I do. And then Joe Biden became president of the United States and launched his war on energy. Since that time, gasoline prices are up 60%. Electricity prices are up 25%. Joe Biden's war on energy is causing real hardship for working families, small businesses, and family farms. But we've got a plan to relieve all of that. We just unveiled the Pence Energy Plan that'll not only put our country back on a path to energy independence, but by 2040, we will reclaim America's role as the leading producer of energy in the world. Join us in the fight for American energy leadership by going to MikePence2024.com. We can lead the world once again to a more prosperous and a secure future for America with energy independence and American energy leadership.
Wow. That was bad. Wrong. Bad. This was almost as bad as his tweet when he had tweeted out, he goes, I heard New Hampshire in America run on Dunkin' Donuts. Had to check it out for myself. And there's a picture of him he tweeted out on his Twitter of him in line at a Dunkin' Donuts. Just stop. This is so cringy. This is very inauthentic. And I mean, this ad looks like it was pitched and crafted by the people who no longer have a job at Bud Light. Folksy Mike Pence driving a pickup truck and filling it up with gas. Right. And he's, talking about the good old days when you could afford gasoline. This is such a fail. To believe that Mike Pence is filling up his pickup truck requires you to believe that Pence actually drives and pumps his own gas. And he is the former president who was the governor before that, and he was a congressman before that. I have a very hard time believing, dude, that that's even your truck. This is the video equivalent of, how do you do, fellow Midwesterner? Yeah, I don't foresee this as a good for the campaign. I mean, the campaign is really on the fritz. I think he's polling at like 5%. But Yeah, this is not a good video. The Daily Caller was quick to point out that the gasoline pump in the ad that I just played for you can be heard making a beeping noise, and that typically prompts the user to select a fuel grade before beginning to fill up, right? So you can hear it beeping in the ad itself. So he doesn't actually fill up his truck. Uh, Mike Pence is pretending to fill up his truck, and he doesn't pull the trigger on the handle to allow the flow of gasoline to get into his truck. This is very cheesy, very corny, conservative middle America trope that they can squeeze into a minute, okay? This is every single trope that they could possibly put into an ad. The only thing missing here is an American flag flying in the background and a Jason Aldean song playing in the background, okay? So, I mean, like I said, this is just so clearly Mike Pence trying to pretend to be conservative. Adding to the fail, I guess Pence is using this video to announce some sort of energy plan. Everyone has been, you know, talking about energy this, energy that. Also, an GOP energy plan needs to include only one point. Okay, like he's just talking about energy this, energy that. We're going to do all kinds of things as far as energy go. There's only one thing that you need in a GOP energy plan, and that is to just do the exact opposite of what Joe Biden has done. Okay, so it's not really all that hard. Just do the exact opposite. What do you mean? You have an exclusive energy plan to Mike Pence? Um, Really, every GOP candidate should be out there with an energy plan. It's just do the opposite of what Joe Biden is doing. Mike Pence plays no role other than to be the guy who doesn't realize it's 2009 anymore. I mean, like, I don't even think he takes votes away from the other candidates. He's there just because he's Mike Pence and he's got nothing else to do. He doesn't take votes away from, you know, Tim Scott, Nikki Haley, Chris Christie. He's just there to be there. So stop it. On the line, I've got Crystal. Crystal is running for Congress. Crystal, thanks so much for calling in to the Morning Buzz. Can you tell me a little bit about your campaign and where we can find out more about you?
Good morning, Kat. Can you hear me?
Yep, can hear you.
Oh,
just fine.
great. Oh, well, I just wanted to say thank you for inviting me on your show and say good morning to the audience. Yes, my name is Crystal Walkren, and I'm running for the House of Representatives in the 76th District. So that's a little north of probably a lot of your viewers, but that would be LaSalle, Peru, Ottawa, a little bit of Ladd. And then from there, I go straight up Highway 23 to DeKalb. So I'll be representing 4 different counties. So a little bit about my campaign. So I am fighting for lower taxes because our taxes in the state of Illinois they're out of control. If you look at our flat tax, it's at 4.9%. And that's just the individual income tax rate. And then secondly, look at our economy, Kat. Isn't it awful?
I know.
I mean, we've got like family and friends that are leaving our state, and they're going to states that are welcoming them, you know, with open arms, lower taxes. They're inviting them in with great incentives, better schools, less crime. And then also look at our streets. I mean, the crime rate. They passed that new bill, the HB 3653, and they call it the Safety Act, Kat. Can you believe that?
Right. No, exactly. So one thing that I wanted to ask you was about the Safety Act a little bit. Now you're running for Congress, right? So U.S. Congress, correct?
No, this would be the House of Representatives.
Okay, the
So I'd
House
be
of
running-
Representatives in Illinois.
And that would be the lower chamber in the General Assembly.
Okay.
And that's 118 members in the House, and then there's 59 in the Senate. But I'm running for the House. So to the east of me is Jed Davis, which is an outstanding conservative Republican. And then to the west of me is Brad Fritz, and he's a Republican as well. So we want to turn that strip all red, all conservative.
Right. So the Safety Act, I'm sure it's a done deal essentially. And I don't know if we were to be able to get some maybe more conservatives in the Illinois General Assembly, if we could kind of create something that supplements or at least gets rid of some of the parts of the Safety Act, the ending of cash bail. They're in just a couple of months, these prosecutors, sheriff's offices, jails everywhere are going to have to try to do a complete overhaul of what they've been doing for years and years and years. And they're going to have to try to adjust to this no cash bail stuff. And I don't know, would there be something that you could do legislatively that, circumvents the law in the book? Because I don't think that we're going to be able to turn Illinois completely red, right? I'm optimistic. Right now, it's not that I'm not optimistic, but if we don't, is there anything that Republicans can do in the state house that circumvents that law that, kind of gives us the ability to lock up criminals?
Well, I think what we need to do is to repeal it, to just get rid of it. I mean, it gives the criminals more rights. No cash bail, so you can commit a crime and then you're right back out there on the street. Here in LaSalle County, our sheriff, Adam Diss, and he at one point made the statement that he refuses to even to enforce this type of law. And there was a group of us that went to LaSalle County board meeting, and we had great emotional testimony from the people of LaSalle County against the Safety Act. So when I get to the General Assembly, that's one thing that'll be on my radar, is that we need to repeal this. But what we need to do first, though, is to get conservative individuals like myself elected. Because if you look at the House now, it's 70% Democrat, 40% Republicans. And that's what we need to change first, is to get conservatives elected so we can get in there and repeal these laws.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, is that if you don't elect conservatives, true conservatives, to the Illinois General Assembly and in Springfield, then we are kind of screwed, because you can't really repeal a law if you don't have the support. So I don't know
correct.
how much support is going to be needed in order to repeal something like that. I've got no clue, but I know right now there is very little support. And I mean, if they could repeal it, I don't know if that's in the works currently, but I would sure hope so, that conservatives in the current state house right now are working towards that. Because I know that our prosecutors, they're trying to figure out something here. They're just going to have to try to get creative and how to keep people like domestic abusers, Crystal. Domestic violence is a misdemeanor. Like if if some guy smashes his girlfriend's face in, right? And then he gets to go out. He doesn't have to be held on bail. He gets to go free. And it used to be where judges could determine, hey, you know what, this domestic abuser, it's unsafe for him to be out. I believe he is a threat to this victim. I'm going to put a bail on him, or I'm even going to revoke bail. But because that's a misdemeanor, you can't revoke bail and hold him. So he's going to be out free, and he could reoffend in those cases. That's very, very likely. So yeah, the Safety Act is.
Yes, I mean we're giving a pass to criminals.
Yeah.
I mean, they have more rights than the average citizen. And another thing that was another law that was just passed, giving non-citizens the right to be police officers in the state of Illinois. So you don't have to be a citizen to make an arrest on an American citizen. I think that is awful, and that also needs to be repealed.
Yeah, just taking these bills and repealing them, and you can't do that without the support of other conservatives. So getting conservatives.
And one thing about our base, if you look at our base for our Christian conservatives, we need to stick with our ideologies. There's no more compromising. I just had a high-profile Republican. I spoke with him last night. I won't mention any names, but there's a seat that's coming available in our county board district. And he had the nerve to tell me, well, we need to find a Democrat, a Democrat that leans more toward conservative values. I could not believe that that came out of his mouth. I said, no, we are not looking for compromise with Democrats. We need solid Republicans, those that are conservative, that
So this
fight
guy,
for
this
pro-life.
high-profile Republican, actually approached you with the idea of filling a Republican seat with a Democrat.
Yes.
Oh my
And it's not the first time I've heard this. So what we're out there, I think it's extremely important that we get out there and we find out where these rhinos are, because they're not doing our conservative platform any favors.
No, exactly. So your thoughts on Don Tracy, being the chair? Are you hoping that there is a shift in the Republican Party, or that he starts to really pay attention to the grassroots movement? And do you think he is currently paying attention to the grassroots movement?
I can actually speak from my personal experience, because I see the movement. And our chair here is Larry Smith. And Larry Smith and Val Ojeda. Val Ojeda is actually my campaign manager, and he is overseeing the Grassroots Coalition. And I know that Val Ojeda has met with Don Tracy. So Don Tracy seems like to me that he is working with the grassroots. I think we're making progress. That the grassroots conservatives are powerful, and there's 80,000 of us, and we're going to take over our state. And I believe that Don Tracy sees this movement, and I hope that he continues to work with Val and Terry Newsom. So I do see progress. At least, we have a seat at the table now, and that's very important. Now, we're going to hold Don Tracy to his promises.
Yeah.
And he said he was going to work with the grassroots. So we shall see.
Yeah. Well, and like I played earlier, about 10 minutes ago, I played that it's just an inauthentic ad, and it comes from the national level. It goes down to the damn dog catcher, I think, in some counties, where you've got these inauthentic Republicans out there, and the people, there's nobody rallying behind people like Mike Pence. This recent ad about energy, which I do want to get to, Crystal, but I got to take a break. I want to ask you about energy here in the state of Illinois, windmills, solar energy, this easements, getting our farmers to sign easements, sign away their property to things like carbon pipelines, things like that.
Eminent domain. Yeah, exactly. The Illinois Agricultural Group urges the U.S. EPA to reconsider these new emission standards. We understand that our farmers are growing corn and soybean, and that's for ethanol. Okay, we'll go to break, and I'd love to share what I've learned and how I can advocate for the Illinois farmer.
Wonderful. I'm going to be right back. This is Cities 92.9, The Morning Buzz. Crystal, it's Loughran. Am I saying that right?
Yes, Crystal Loughran.
Loughran. All right.
Yeah,
I'm going to be right back with Crystal. On the other side, we're going to talk about some Illinois ag and eminent domain, and some of these farmers signing these easements to things like solar energy and windmills. And I've got a story here from a Tesla whistleblower, actually, saying that these solar panels, there's some of them that definitely need some sort of recall issued. So I'm going to be back. This is The Morning Buzz.
Cities 92-second news brought to you by
Menards. Save big money at Menards.
Heading to the
after really getting behind their network channel partnerships. Yes, the Pac-12 has a network too. I actually get it, and I can tell you that for whatever reason, the Big Ten and SEC channels are just better content, better teams, just better. The Pac-12 didn't get better, and it killed them. I'm Chris Murphy, Cities 92.9 Sports.
Have you ever wanted to see your favorite Cities host live in the studio? Well, now you can. Join Cities 92.9 on YouTube for live streams and exclusive off-air content. Cities 92.9 aims to bring you the best local conservative content that covers the news the lamestream media doesn't want you to hear. Go to cities929.com or YouTube and search for your favorite host, Conservative Cat Peterson, The Aldonzo and Dee Show, Modern Renaissance Man and host of Cancel This, Ty Smith, The David Paul Blumenshine Show, or even my show, Speechless with Kev Ferris. Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington, Normal, and beyond on YouTube.
Illinois is broken. I'm David Paul Blumenshine. Sundays from 1 to 3, we find concrete ways to restore our state on Cities 92.9.
You're up, cat. What's new, cat? Cat class and I got cat style.
Coming up in just about 15 minutes, I got to tell you about a Gold Star mom who just ripped into Joe Biden's response after her Marine son was killed in Kabul. She says this, quoting, how could someone be so heartless? And of course, she's talking about Joe Biden because guess what? When she met Joe Biden, his response was to talk about his kid, not the child that she lost. And she spoke at, before Congress along with a few other Gold Star families as we neared the tragic anniversary of the withdrawal here of Afghanistan, August 26, 2021, when 13 service members were killed in a terrorist attack in Kabul. So critics point out that this was one of the most tragic examples of Joe Biden's incompetence, his disastrous withdrawal out of Afghanistan. This is one of the most tragic examples of that withdrawal. And by critics, they, of course, mean everyone not employed by the White House and employed by corporate media, because those people, they say that, oh, the Afghanistan withdrawal is such a great thing. Not according to this mother who lost her boy. And then she goes and she meets Joe Biden, and all he can talk about is his son, Beau Biden, who died of cancer, and he got to be with his son when he died. Tragic, right? Death is sad, but he sat there and he talked with Gold Star families about his son rather than offering some sort of condolences to these people who lost their loved ones and who are no longer with us. So we're going to be talking about that, plus a woman, trans woman, suing her ex-boyfriend in Michigan to try to get her testicles back. Yes, you heard me right. She lopped off her testes and she put them in a jar and she kept them in a refrigerator. Now her ex-boyfriend, I guess, has possession of these testicles and he won't give them back. So she's suing him. Yes, it's America in 2023. All of that and more in just about 15 minutes. But right now on the line, she's running for Illinois State House. She's going to be an Illinois representative in the 76th district. That's up north. That's kind of LaSalle County, Peru. Crystal Lochran. She joins me to tell me a little bit about what she thinks about all of this energy stuff and eminent domain, these easements. Now, I was talking about this Tesla whistleblower. So it turns out there is this guy whom we talked to as a publication, Cities 92.9, and he revealed that there is a solar panel that is causing big fires. Like these inverters are causing these big fires, and there has been no recall issued by this company that produces these solar panels. And we've had here in McLean County, actually one of these schools just go up in flames. The rooftop anyway, and it was because they had a bunch of solar panels. We've seen things come from Walmart stores that had these same solar panels, and they won't issue a recall. And the government is incentivizing these schools, these businesses to put these solar panels up. And in fact, farmers are signing away their land to put all these solar panels up that eventually might just catch fire. So, Crystal, your thoughts here about green energy in the state of Illinois. What can we do when it comes to eminent domain and these farmland being given up in the name of climate change?
Whoa.
I know it's
This
loaded.
is, this
Loaded
is very
question.
it's very critical in the state of Illinois, and it's such a loaded question. And what I totally disagree with, if you look at municipalities and the wind turbines, local governments could actually control where the turbines were going to be placed in the state of Illinois. Well, Pritzker's come in and said, "Oh, no, 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 no. He's going to take charge of people's land, the eminent domain." And I think that is so unfair to people. Some of these turbines are 600 feet tall. And if you look at what it does to the environment. But now let's just touch back. I know we're talking about the solar panels. And I guess with this whistleblower, thank God he came up and he came forward to let people know what's going on. Because if it's not for stations like yours, Kat, that you can actually reach out, because we know how biased the media is. So these stories are so critical to let the public know what's actually going on with these solar panels.
Yeah, well, and whether it be wind farms, solar panels, I think that this new push for carbon pipelines, where they take the emissions from, I think they're pitching it right now, ethanol plants. And some farmers are really pro carbon pipeline, which I don't know. I've got to do a little bit more research on that. I just don't understand how we could be signing away perfectly good farmland to where they're going to start putting these carbon sequestration pipelines down underneath the ground. And they're taking those emissions, these carbon emissions. It's part of Joe Biden's 2023, or by 2030, he wants zero carbon emissions, which the building of these pipelines, the building of these windmills, right? I mean, the solar panels, how much carbon are we actually throwing into the atmosphere just by the production of these things? And I know the windmills come from China. Nobody wants to talk about their carbon emissions. Everybody just wants to look at the United States carbon emissions. But yeah, this Tesla whistleblower, his name is Stephen Hanks, and he worked for Toyota for a number of years, and then he moved to a company called Solar City. And then shortly after moving to that company as a quality engineer, Tesla had acquired Solar City. So he had found out that a lot of these solar panels were faulty, that were being installed from 2015 to 2018. And these solar panels are still out there, right? The ones that were made between 2015 and 2018. It's a very specific one. But he said that he has no doubt in his mind that that's what has caused many of these Walmart fires, where their rooftops are setting on fire. He says he believes that it's most likely what caused the fire here in McLean County. It's the Olympia High School fire. He said it has something to do with the inverter panel. And I mean, there's been several. I mean, right here in Farmington, Illinois, there was an entire farm that just started burning because there was a bunch of these solar panels on this farmland. And I'm sure that this was given up in some sort of easement, or some sort of eminent domain was invoked, where the governor of the state of Illinois comes in, they steal your land, they put these solar panels up, and then the solar panels catch on fire. Or the windmills don't work and they have to be decommissioned. And who pays for them to be decommissioned? Me, the little guy, the taxpayer. So I mean, it's just a whole, this green, I think we can lump them all together. The carbon pipelines, the windmills, the solar panels. It just seems to be the same thing over and over again. They are doing this at a state level, where they're going to try to take away our property rights for green energy.
Yeah, I was able to real quickly Google what you're talking about over the whistleblower claims of solar panel and the defects of it. Yes, this is very interesting. They opened the investigation, but it looks like they're opening it into Tesla over a whistleblower complaint that the company failed to properly notify its shareholders as well, and the public risk of fires. So this is very interesting. Thank you.
No, yeah,
for
and
bringing this to our attention. Yeah, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission disclosed the Tesla probe in response to the Freedom of Information Act. Thank God for FOIAs.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and what my hope would be is that, state legislators like yourself, you're going to be running in the 76th district here. If you were to get in, I would love to see some of these whistleblowers come forward, some of these people from the green energy world come forward to talk about some of the defects that happen with this, and even about some of the numbers, right? The yields. I don't think that green energy windmills produce nearly as much as energy as, say nuclear. I'd love to see some of these experts in the green energy, like Stephen Hanks, who is this Tesla whistleblower. I'd love to see him testify before some sort of hearing, some sort of committee, and try to get it passed to where we don't do this eminent domain stuff in the name of climate change, because the science just isn't there. We need to start listening to the experts, right?
The Green New Deal is just not friendly to Illinois overall, and especially the Illinois farmer. If you look, we're producing corn and soybean, and we produce ethanol. And so that ethanol has a chain of effect. You look at gas stations, trucking companies. If we reduce our ethanol and go green, I mean, the perfect example is California. Look at their grids. I mean, people go weeks without electricity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're exactly right, Crystal. And I hate to see
we just can't afford green energy, solar panels, and wind turbines in the state of Illinois. And this is why they're angry. They feel that, well, if Illinois farmers and Illinois citizens aren't going to go along with us, we'll just come in and take it. That's just the democratic way. If you don't like it, we'll take it. And that's very unfortunate. And that's why we need a fighter down there at the General Assembly. And I'm not afraid to back down, and I will not cave.
Right. Crystal, we've got to take another break, but tell me again where we can find out more about you, your run, the campaign, and some more about your party, or some more about your platform.
Okay, so another thing, pro seniors. Our medicine for our seniors is out of control. Why are seniors still paying property taxes? 70% of our property taxes go toward education. A lot of seniors, we don't even have children in schools anymore. And then pro-veterans. If you look at our veteran homes in the state of Illinois, we have 6. That is it. On any given night, there's 181,000 homeless veterans that sleep on the street, but yet Pritzker goes and makes Illinois a sanctuary state where we're giving free everything to these illegals. So I would definitely be a fighter for our veterans. And then once again, pro-farmers. We need someone down there in Springfield that's going to fight for the farmers. Hey, listen, if you want to get to my website, www.loughran, LOUGHRAN 4rep.com. And my policies are out there because I have a plan. And we need people with a plan with conservative background and conservative values. Enough compromising with these crazy ideologies about sexualizing our children, underage genital mutilation. What are these Democrats thinking? We need to keep sex out of our schools as well. You know, Pritzker, he went in there and signed that SB 818 in January. We've got the new sex standards coming into our schools. Mm-hmm. There's just so much to talk about. I could just fill a whole hour with you, Kat, about what we need to do in the state of Illinois. And I have a plan. It's Crystal Loughran. Find me at www.loughran4rep.com.
Thanks so much, Crystal. You have a great rest of your day. Thanks for joining me here on The Buzz. Folks, we're going to be back. And like I said, we're going to go through what this Gold Star mom said about Joe Biden's response. Then we're also going to talk about this trans woman going after her ex-boyfriend. That's next.
The news is being brought to you by the Deep End Tap and Eastland Suites. Unwind tonight with drink specials and some local brews at the Deep End Tap.
IRA from Birch Gold Group. To learn more, get a free info kit on gold by texting the word shelter to 989898. I encourage you to act before August 22nd. Text shelter to 989898 to get your free information kit on gold now.
Whoa. Okay, this story is absolutely wild. A trans woman suing her ex-boyfriend to get her testes back, her testicles. That's right. They're being kept in a jar in a refrigerator. We're going to get to that story coming up in just a little bit. But first, I've got to tell you about this woman. She's a Gold Star mom, and she just rips into Joe Biden because Joe Biden approached her after she lost her son in Kabul. It was a terrorist attack, and it was a direct result of Joe Biden pulling out of Afghanistan, his withdrawal, which was completely incompetent, disastrous. Now, let's take a listen to this woman who was invited by a congressman to talk about her son and honor her son because we're approaching the anniversary here of that terrorist attack in Kabul. It's August 26th, 2021. Here we go. Here's what she said. Let's take a listen.
Our elected president entered the room. When he approached me, his words to me were, my wife Jill and I know how you feel. We lost our son as well and brought him home in a flag-draped coffin. My heart started beating faster, and I started shaking, knowing that their son died from cancer, and they were
Yes, they were able to be with their son
to be by his side.
because he died of cancer, and she wasn't able to be with her son, who died in this terrorist attack. He didn't come home. Okay. And it's a direct result of Joe Biden's disaster, withdrawal from Afghanistan. And, you know, that's an all too common response because there were other Gold Star families who echoed what Cheryl, her name was Cheryl Reck. She's the mother of Lance Corporal Dylan Marola. And there was another family of Lance Corporal Riley McCullum who made the trip in 2021, but did not want to meet. So they didn't want to meet Joe Biden, the family of Riley, because they blame Joe Biden for their son being killed, right? And Riley's widow, so Riley McCullum, his widow was actually pregnant at the time of his death, and she agreed to meet with the president. And she said that she regrets doing so because what the president did, Joe Biden, he talked about his son, Beau Biden, rather than talking with her about or offering any kind of condolences about the loss of her husband. It's truly despicable what Joe Biden did when all of during this dignified transfer of the bodies in these coffins. He kept checking his watch. Now, some people will tell you that that didn't happen. The independent fact checkers will say Joe Biden never checked his watch when, you know, there was this transfer of the bodies happening. But Darren Hoover, the father of Sergeant Darren Taylor Hoover Jr., said, quote, he was checking his watch, but it didn't just happen once. It happened every single time one of them came out of that airplane, one of the coffins, and it happened on every single one of them. And they would release the salute, and he would look down at his watch at every last one, all 13, as if he had somewhere to go. Disgusting. So I'm glad that we have Gold Star families speaking out about how bad this response was, and I'm very disgruntled at Joe Biden's response to all of these Gold Star families. His response being that he took more of an interest in Beau Biden, his own son, instead of offering some sort of condolences to these families who are literally going through hell when it comes to their grief. So I'm going to be back. We're going to talk a little bit about this Michigan woman, this crazy story about how she's suing her ex-boyfriend. She's a trans woman. We'll be back.
This news is being brought to you by
The news is brought to you by me, Ryan Scritchlow of Scritchlow Slabjack. Here's some news. Most people wait until they trip and fall on sunken concrete before they call me. So call me before that happens, and I'll level with you on how to fix it.
A 36-year-old postal worker was identified as the person who was killed in that two-vehicle crash Monday morning in Bloomington at the intersection of Ashley Drive and Beach Road. McLean County Coroner Kathy Yoder says Ronald W. Bethard Jr. of Pontiac died from multiple blunt injuries due to his postal service vehicle being struck by a sports.
Woo! Good morning. Hey, this is the Morning Buzz. And man, that show flew by. But we're going to do it again tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. to 9. So don't worry if you didn't get your fix of the buzz this morning and you're just tuning in. You can tune in tomorrow and stay tuned for Glenn Beck, who's up after me, then Dan Bongino, Sean Hannity, Mark Levin, and Mark Lee Van Camp and Robin. So I was telling you about this Michigan woman. Headline, okay? And here's the story in a nutshell. A Michigan woman is suing her ex-boyfriend to get her testicles back. You see, the woman, she had her testicles surgically removed, thus making her a woman, and she kept those testicles in a mason jar in the refrigerator, and now she's claiming that her ex-boyfriend won't give them back. So she is got this affidavit. The affidavit is also demanding $6,500 cash from the guy from, with all the pain and suffering and all that jazz that this woman is going through. So to summarize, the woman is suing her ex-boyfriend in Michigan to get her testicles back that she had removed, and she was keeping them in the refrigerator as a souvenir. It's 2023 in America, and I hope you enjoyed the show today. You can text me all day today, 309-451-9299. Stay up to date with all of our newscasts from Tom Davis and myself. We've also got weather from our meteorologist, John Weatherby. You guys have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye. I love you. See you tomorrow.